Your subconscious mind, your thoughts and beliefs about your situation or environment will determine how you live your life or react to situations. Your thoughts and beliefs about your situation or environment will determine how you live your life or react to situations. This is truth. It will determine it. It's not your circumstance that's going to determine. It's going to be your thoughts and beliefs about your situation. So what you've been taught, if not closely examined, will be assumed and embraced automatically. So what you've been taught. What if you've been taught wrong? Okay, or what if what you've been taught is incomplete? What you believe about your self-worth will determine your confidence and motivation going forward. This is a really important one because some people can believe something more about themselves than what they should. Our political culture now calls these snowflakes. maybe your mom has pumped you up and told you about how smart you are and how great you are and all of the things about you that are wonderful, and maybe they've taught you that you really do have life coming to you. If that's the case, your self-worth is really off, and it's not accurate. Or maybe your confidence is down because you've been taught that your self-worth is very low. Maybe you've experienced abuse. Maybe you've experienced people telling you what you can't do. Maybe you've experienced people being extremely critical of you over your life. And so your interpretation of that is that you're not worth much. And so that will determine your confidence and your motivation if it's not corrected and realigned. What you believe about the nature of man will determine how you treat others. This is really important too. If you believe that man is just a creature of just nature and will die and go into the dirt, and life really doesn't matter too much, and that there's just nothing other than just the animalistic nature about people, then you're going to have one perspective about the value of a human life, of a human person, somebody, any employee that you have, or anybody in our culture. You're going to have a certain, but if you have a different philosophy about people, and that if you believe that there is a purpose for everybody, and you believe that people are here for a reason and we need to value those people, you're going to have a different, your subconscious is going to think differently about people. So some of your automatic beliefs will be circled around what you believe about human life and about other people. When your life has been determined by others, you will assume it will always be determined by others. And that's interesting, until somebody comes along, or until a paradigm shift takes place in your mind, and then you can change. But if that doesn't happen, if you just keep floating along, relying on your subconscious mind, you will assume that your life will always be determined by outside forces. And I'm sure we can all relate to that a little bit. It sure feels like that sometimes, no doubt. Okay, let's move on to the conscious mind. And again, some of this is going to be review from last week, but it's so important. It's good to go over. Your thoughts and beliefs about your situation or environment can be changed by choosing to think differently. It can be changed. This is a central message right here. Your thoughts and beliefs about your situation or environment can be changed by choosing to think differently. This could be lies that you've been taught, but your lies can be examined and rejected. Okay, so the things that you believe, maybe wrongly believe, you can examine them and you can reject it. You can say, hey, look, my mom taught me this, but this isn't a good way to live. I don't have to keep living this way. I don't have to keep believing this thought. I can put this thought to death, and I can move on and replace it with a healthier thought. I don't have to accept all of the lies I've been told. Now that takes some discernment, and that's part of healthy thinking, being able to discern well. Next one, you can decide to determine for yourself what you can become. So you can decide to determine for yourself what you can become. So notice that this does not say you can determine for yourself what you can become. It says you can decide to determine for yourself what you become. See, if this only said you can determine for yourself what you can become, that's an incomplete thought, because we all know that to some degree, but we wonder why we don't do it. And the reason why is because we don't make a decision to do so. When we decide to do that first, make that decision, then we can work towards determining what we can become. But we have to make that decision, first of all, that we are going to jump off of the subconscious bandwagon and we're going to jump onto the conscious bandwagon and start making decisions and choices, and let that commitment help us to start making better choices for ourselves. You can choose to see the best in others. Now, this is a hard one, because seeing the best in others is not very easy sometimes to do, especially if the best in others seems to be hidden and they seem to be displaying the worst in themselves for us to see. But we can choose to see the best in others. Some of us, we all struggle with being critical of others at some times. We all do. There are some people that I've met that just, I hardly ever see them be critical of others. They're just so positive and so caring towards other people. It's really hard to see that, but it's still there. It's there in all of us. So it comes naturally to pick somebody apart or to point out the negative that they're doing or to be critical of the way they're going about something. It's so natural that we sometimes even enjoy doing that. But here's the problem, though. That choice to be critical of other people's actions or behaviors, that always leads to something else, and that's not always a positive thing. We can choose to see the best in others, and that leads to an entirely different set of circumstances. And so that it's important to know that we have that choice. We don't just have to just be critical because that's what we feel. You can choose to take full responsibility for your life and reject the idea that it will be determined by others. Yep, this is one of the two major roadblocks that we all need to get through to get over when it comes to being a grown-up. Really, we have to take full responsibility for our lives. Okay, and that only happens in the conscious mind. The subconscious mind will never make you lead you to be more responsible. It'll lead you to stay at whatever responsibility level you've already been at. You can choose to commit yourself to serve others. Now, committing yourself to serving others that's the difference between whether you're going to serve others or not. See, if you don't commit yourself to something, you're not going to do it. And to make a commitment to something this is done in your conscious mind. You can only do this if you consciously make a commitment to serving other people or to a better outcome down the road. If you don't make a commitment and you just tell yourself, I think I'll do it, you'll never do it. Think of a commitment like, now I don't know much about mountain climbing, but imagine, tossing an anchor way up above and getting it to catch on some rock so that it's solid and so that it's connected. I think of a commitment is kind of like committing to something in the future and getting a solid foundation for it, and then using that leverage to pull yourself along into the future, kind of like a rock climber would pull themselves up. But the integrity of that connection is really important, and the integrity of a commitment has to be that important as well. If we're going to commit to changing the way we think to a place where we're serving others and we're making it not about us, we have to commit to it. We can't just say, it's a good idea, I'll try. That's why people that work for me know that I hate the words, I'll try, because I'll try is an alternative to a commitment. All right.